Good evening, everybody. This is Brent Warren alongside Braden Petrie and Andre Brooks, and we are here to talk about something that has been going on nationwide across the United States the last couple of days. It's been a major headline in the news, and the news has been covering it constantly. And we are here to talk about the protests. Now, I kind of want to get opinions from Braden and Andre about certain things, but let's go ahead and start off with saying that there is these are all peaceful protests as of right now. We have protests and demonstrations in Boston, Massachusetts, Washington D.C., Baltimore, Maryland, and New York City, New York. So,
and do you think that will keep extending as we get further along in time?
Well, do keep in mind that in Boston, or not in Boston, in Baltimore, there is a 10 p.m. curfew. So that's why the protests are beginning to stop there. But there is no doubt in my mind that the protests in other cities will not stop because there is not a protest. And we just did get information. The National Guard troops from Maryland in downtown Baltimore has increased from 2,000 to 3,000 now, as they are watching those protests happen right now. And there is roughly hundreds and thousands of people there. My guess is upward to the 6,000 range. But those people started at Penn Station. They headed to the courthouse or the state house, and they are going back to Penn Station now, and they will disperse from there.
And all of this started from the death of Freddie Gray.
Yes. This is the reason that they're protesting. And a lot of the signs out here that we've been seeing in these protests is Black Lives Matter. And there's also been some debate about the word thug that has been sorry, I'm stuttering here, is considered to also be the N-word. Thug could be the new N-word. I don't want to say it, but Andre, what do you think about all this? And do you think that people actually have a right to protest?
Hey, what I believe in this is just, it's frustration. As a race with African Americans, or any race in that matter, they're set up of the way, they are treated. As me, as an African American, I would do the same thing, I mean, I wouldn't do it in this form, but I'll do it like through petition or whatever. But yes, they do have a right to do this because it is part of freedom of speech and freedom of press.
And that also that is in the First Amendment. And questions were brought up at school today. Asked me, do I think that they have a right to protest? Absolutely. That's under the First Amendment. The only way that peaceful protests will be broken up is if it endangers public safety, which mainly means if it does turn violent. Or
yeah, I see nothing wrong with it if it's peaceful, but if it gets out of hand, I don't agree with it at all.
Now, Brant, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Do you think this will end up like another Ferguson?
Well, actually, before I answer that question, I want to go ahead and go back to Ferguson last night. There was some violence there protesting Freddie Gray's death and police brutality. There was some gunshots that went off in Ferguson last night. And this just brings back just sad memories of what happened there. I forget how long it was ago, but it was just too long of a time period for this to be going on. And half of Ferguson was burnt to the ground because of this. But I think they have a lot more. I'm sorry, I'm just watching something. People, cops in New York City are arresting people. It looks like it is turning violent now.
So I hate to ask this, but you think this is on like how you think the world's gonna start ending like this?
Okay, I can confirm. Well, I can confirm right now. Police in New York City are arresting people, and they are somewhat of retaliating. So we're starting to see this come down to the point. I can see a black woman being arrested right now. That the cops have
Baltimore, we've got your back.
helmet shields, and people are climbing up on rafters now in New York, protesting this. And also, it looks becoming a little restless in. I'm sorry, that other camera is New York also. There is people on the ground. The cops are arresting people. I can see a looks to be a man in a red coat. He has 6 officers. I assume 6 officers around him now. So we're starting to see this become more violent. And I've been keeping this to myself tonight. But out of everything that I've been seeing, I can just say that this looks like it is a ticking time bomb, as in the way of peaceful protests.
Now, Brian, how do you think this will end up ending?
Well, I can't exactly say that. I don't know how it'll end, but I do think things will start to get ugly tonight. As I said, I do believe this is just a ticking time bomb.
They just arrested someone else. Can you see that?
Yeah, I can see it. It looks to be another woman. She was on the ground being arrested. Several cops around him. There is people up on rafters. Those construction supports that people use when they're constructing to hold up a structure. People are climbing on those. It looks like a woman standing, pushing back the media right now.
Yeah.
And
do you think some of these people just do this for attention?
No, I don't. It's hard to say, but as of right now, New York City is becoming restless. As I said, cops are arresting people, and most of the streets in New York City, and as it just came up here, NYC police arresting protesters on the CNN front page. They just arrested somebody else, looks to be a white male, and just a lot of chaos going on in the country right now, and this brings back memories of Trayvon Martin and the Michael Brown and the Ferguson riots. And
what's the guy doing on the right of the screen? Can you see that?
I'm sorry?
The guy on the right of the screen on CNN, what are they doing right there?
They are carrying him out. It looks like he is, his feet are tied and his hands are tied right now. So, just a lot of things going on in here. And another person just was arrested. He's holding a camera, so it looks like they are arresting people from the media, probably. But Andre, I want your point of view on this. We haven't really brought you into this that much. They are okay. I just want to update one more thing. They are loading. They are loading the person. They were carrying by his hands and legs into the back of a police van.
You see how many police cruisers they have? It's filled up that whole lane.
Just so many people go. Just so many things going on right now, and I want to get your opinion, Andre. Where do you think this is going? And speaking, well, let's go back to Baltimore here. They're not focusing on Baltimore, but
Okay, y'all can hear me now?
yes, I want to go ahead and get your opinion on this. Hold on 1 second.
Was also true, and what did get the lion's share of the coverage out of Baltimore were the actions of a small minority that were nothing short of criminal actions. And whether it's arson or the looting of a liquor store.
Okay, I want to go ahead and pop back to Monday here, guys. And I want to go ahead and talk about this. Before we do that, Andre, I want to get to your point of view on this. Baltimore councilman slams Obama, just called the N-word. They are bringing this in as thug, and they are taking this just as offensively as the N-word. So, what's your opinion on this? Should this word that's been used for a long time, and it is used a lot in our modern language, what do you think the effects of this are?
Hold on a minute.
You see that 3 shot in Ferguson overnight as hundreds gathered in support of Baltimore's protest. Ferguson spokesman says, Ferguson officials say it's unclear whether shootings are linked to the protest.
Hello, I can hear you.
Police are arresting people in a large amount of numbers now, mainly trying to keep the peace there in New York City. They are bringing a woman down the street now, looks to be in a brown coat. She's being escorted by 2 policemen with helmet shields, and policemen are going back down the street now and pulling more people out.
And I think that becomes more violent, like you said overnight. I think it's a big unsafe for the media to be out.
All right, I'm back.
People, I can say right now, as of right now, people in New York City are becoming restless. They are carrying an elderly man. It looks. Oh no, that's just a hat. I thought that was white hair. But a white male is
echoing.
A male is being picked up by 3 police officers. And I'm sorry, it is an elderly man. That was not a hat. He has white hair, and he looks to be a Native American, as he's being picked up by 6 police officers now and being carried by his arms and legs to a police cruiser. And police down the street now are arresting more people. Andre, how far do you think this is going to go? And do you think it's just going to get worse overnight?
I think it's going to get really bad if this trend continues. I believe that this is going to be a Ferguson-like situation, and I believe this is going to happen in a matter of minutes. And my point of view of this is that, you know, they do it out of frustration. Yeah, we are dealing with, you know, racial, you know, issues throughout this country. And as me as an African American, I understand where they're coming from, but they don't have to do it to this extent. They don't have to get violent. Just say what you want to say, you know, see what the community reacts to it. If they just don't say, you know, that your point of view is wrong, just move on with it. But with this, it's just creating chaos. You know, and Braden's right. They just do it. They just want attention.
There is now an ambulance in New York City. We are unclear why. There might have been fighting there. Lenox Hill medical services are down there as police are arresting more protesters. I have no idea why they are arresting these protesters. I have no idea why these people...
Probably, I think it's the people that, I can't think of the word, like, make it like the bad people in it, like the people that's trying to get it worse. I can't think of the word off the top of my head, but I think you know what I mean. Instigators, that's the word I'm looking for.
They have arrested another 2 more black males now, and the city is becoming restless now. I think this is a tactic for the police to try to keep order. They have just arrested another white female now, as the police are communicating on their cell phones. Live in Baltimore now. They're transitioning back to Baltimore. It looks like more more peaceful protests are continuing to go on there. And just keep in mind, we are a little under 2.5 hours, or 2 hours and, to be exact, 2 hours and 18 minutes before this curfew does go into effect. It is time for them to about start going back to their homes. And I did the calculation. If there was 6,000 people on the ground, the National Guard, the Maryland National Guard, is outnumbered 2 to 1. So,
do you think as this continues, there will be any shootings?
I can't say that. I have no idea what's going to go on. All I can say is I totally agree with Andre. This is getting way out of hand. I have, you know, I want to feel free to answer here, guys. But what is our country leading into? we're hearing about all these, bombings and terrorist attacks and protests and, all these things happening in other countries. Is this happening in ours?
I guess they, just fed up. They're just fed up with what's going on in this country.
And
with the rights we, have, and also with all the, government laws that's being changed and all that, it's just making their mental status, go off the page. And Braden, what do you think?
What do you mean? Think about why?
I'm going to go ahead and protesters are growing in New York. It looks like they're trying to put up fences to keep people. Yeah, it says do not cross, and they are trying to keep people back off. It looks like to be one of the main streets. But officers are becoming very short-tempered now. And I do have live New York City's camera up. So I'm going to go ahead and get that on the screen for you.
Man, just say this got out of hand and a cop actually had to shoot another black person. What do you think this would lead to?
Well, my grandparents said, I want to see if that's still, okay. It is still broadcasting, and it was kind of laggy on your end, guys. Anybody who is going to watch this in the future. It looks like protesters in New York are becoming more restless. It looks like Baltimore is the safe place right now. And I do believe we have another protest forming. I don't know what city that is yet. But just massive protest going on all across the country right now. And I do see why the police are trying to keep people off the main roads so the traffic can get through, because this is getting toward the end of rush hour for New York City.
Brad, do you think where you and we live local, do you think this will come into our area too? I don't think it will, because we're not in like a major city, but what do you think?
Well, it could be going on in smaller cities around the country right now.
But
bad, on the news, the larger cities get the most attention. That's how everything works. The more population that is affected, and I hate to say this, but the news is fixated on the more, action there is the one they're going to choose. And right now, as of cops are arresting protesters in New York. That's why they're focusing on New York.
And I think the media also keep your right skin, because they know they're getting all the attention, so they're just going to keep doing it.
And again, protesters are, this is why they are arresting people. Protesters are clogging the New York streets. As you can see, it's not that bad on the Times Square camera as I have up right now, but it could be getting worse over time. As we said, the more this progresses tonight, the worse it is getting. So once again, just to recap, guys, anybody who is joining us, we have protests going on right now in New York City, which is starting to become violent between protesters and police. We also have one in Boston, which we haven't heard from a lot tonight, which means it's staying pretty peaceful. But we also have the main protest that is branching off of this. Baltimore has been our main focus the last couple of days. And we are getting now reports that police are running from NYPD police officers. This brings back up a point of fear. The reason that the folks of Baltimore said last night that it was so peaceful was because of the fact that they were in fear of the power that the police around them are having. Now, Andre, I want to bring you back into this. Braden is currently away right now, but are you watching this on TV right now?
Not currently right now, but something just tells me that, you know, the meaning behind all this, you know, yeah, someone, you know, of an African American race just, you know, supposedly got murdered by a police officer, but, you know, we see that almost like every day now. So, I mean, this is a big deal. I'll say it's a big deal, but at the same time, don't you think that these people are taking it too far?
I absolutely agree with that. And Braden is joining us back live. Sorry about that, Braden. Your mic was doing something, so I removed you for a short time until you got back. But protests are growing in New York City, and protests are growing around the country, guys. And I want to bring you guys. I want to bring up a question to you guys. How far do you think this is gonna go?
I would say until maybe another week, until things start cooling down a little bit.
This sounds like a stupid question, but I don't think this will be like the end of the world. Do you?
Absolutely not. I don't think it's the end of the world. But we just got new protests are forming in Baltimore and New York City. We are now 2 hours and 10 minutes away from that protest, or that curfew that is supposed to take effect. And guys,
some people just say it though, don't they?
Do you think that they are going to abide by this this curfew that's been placed into effect? Last night it worked good, but I have a question for you. Do you think other cities are going to start doing this, because it seemed to work very well? But the problem is, I just want to say this right now. A man earlier that was being interviewed by CNN said that they were being. I forgot what I was going to say. Sorry about that. But I want to ask you guys, what other cities do you think it's going to spread to? And do you think it is going to spread to other cities?
Yes, I believe so. I think it's going to go to New Orleans. That's most likely going to be the next place. Then Dallas, maybe. Houston, Miami. You know, that's going to be kind of a problem with the Trayvon Martin thing. And also, maybe Atlanta, too.
Okay, we're not. I wouldn't say that many cities there. I wouldn't pick them out one by one like that. But we.
I would maybe say. Would you say California?
I have no idea right now. I do believe protests will start spreading to other cities across the nation right now.
For instance, this is getting like into a big deal. Do you want me to post on a page like a poll question? Since this is getting so big, would you like us to do live coverage on this throughout the night?
Say we are live streaming. I'm gonna go ahead and send you a link here. You can post it.
So don't make it into a question. Just say if you want to join us, you can.
Yeah, just say we're talking about issues that are going on right now.
Said good evening. We are live streaming.
Here, I'm gonna go ahead and send you the link. Just say we are currently talking about current things that are going on across the nation with these riots. And if you would like to join us, go ahead and click the link, which I am sending you right now.
We are currently talking about current riots.
About the current riots.
That are going. Would it be that are or that is?
That are going on.
We are currently talking about current riots that are going on right now. If you would like to join the conversation on live stream.
Yeah.
Now, guys, I'll be here for another 10 to 15 minutes, and then I have to go.
Okay, sounds good. But we are approaching the 8 o'clock hour, which would mean that we are 2 hours away from seeing the curfew go into effect with Baltimore. And do you guys...
Well, I think...
Sorry, I'm just watching something. It looks like NYPD has rocks being thrown at them. That's why they are arresting people. Sorry, that looks like to be Baltimore. I have no idea where that is, but stuff is being thrown at police as of right now. So, I want to go ahead and bring you guys back into this. How far?
Also, I would like to say that even a few fans are kind of not agreeing with us doing updates with this rise, but I think it's good we're doing this. Do you agree?
Yes, absolutely. And this is the thing.
Because we would like to save lives. That'd be better than losing a couple of likes. I'm not trying to be mean, but I think that's the truth.
Absolutely, and I got in trouble for this on ONC, and Nick said it was because we were saying we were saying stuff that wasn't true. Which this time I am 100% listening for about 30 minutes on CNN or Fox News, and I am posting stuff about that to that, which it is 100% honest. And
but the good thing to say, like the good old tell, is it's better to be saved than sorry.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, I would agree. You know, we're helping people, you know, be prepared for anything, because if my city, Hammond, you know, had a riot all of a sudden going on in a protest, I'll be scared. You know, I'll be scared, but I'll be prepared.
And
you know, I just have to stay strong and pray to God.
Absolutely, and I don't think we're doing anything wrong by doing this. We're just stating what's going on we're just stating what's going on in the world right now, and I don't see any problem with us doing this. So
there's no form of malpractice whatsoever.
And Brandon, do you plan on doing this live stream at least till 10 o'clock tonight?
If you guys would, if you want to, I don't know, but.
And I'll be here for another 5 minutes, and then I have to go. I have to take care of some things. But I'm gonna,
You'll be back
tune in.
Later.
I'll see. I have a good amount of stuff to do, so I'll probably, like I said, I'll tune in just a few minutes, and then I'll have to go.
Checking back on us every few minutes.
And I want to get back to the question part of this, guys, and I want to ask you the questions now. I know Braden's been bombarding me with questions tonight, and it's questions I can't answer. But I want to get your guys' opinion. Now, this is why we're on. You know, I know this is just a very sensitive topic, and we wouldn't be doing this. We usually do it for weather, but as I said, this is something that will go down in U.S. history. It is something that will be taught later on in schools in about 20 years. Just like the protests at Kent State that killed 4 innocent students there. And, you know, I don't feel that we're doing anything wrong by covering it. I just think that, you know,
I have posted this link to our partners at Storm Chasing, which most of their fans actually are from the New York City area, so at least we'll get the word out.
And one person is joining us right now. I don't know if you guys are doing anything, if any of you, Braden or Andre, if you're viewing us. But thank you for joining us right now. We are currently covering, as we approach the top of the hour, we are currently covering massive protests around the country right now, and police commissioner out of Baltimore says 18 new arrests have been made in the protest in Baltimore, and the troops, the Maryland National Guard troops, have increased from 2,000 to 3,000 now. So we're currently watching this unfold right now, and I have no idea what to say.
Like I said, when I found out about this, I was just like, wow. I can't believe this is happening in the United States. I would have never thought of it, but at the same time, I said, you know what? The United States been through worse.
I think everybody can say that once Ferguson was gone, once everything stopped there, the U.S. was rejoicing. Everything had calmed down there, and now this has happened again. And this seems every protest that we've seen over the past couple of years in the U.S. has increased in size and how many people are protesting against it. I would roughly say there is 20,000 people in the United States right now on the streets protesting in all 4 cities. And as Braden was mentioning last night, 3 was shot in Ferguson, Missouri overnight as hundreds gathered in support of Baltimore protesters.
Braden, step in real fast.
Yes, go ahead.
One of my teachers said that she was on listening to it, so she said she's going to click the link and watch it, so I just wanted to tell you that.
Okay. Well, hi, teacher. I know you're not my teacher, but
she's not on yet. She said she's getting on. Okay. She's going to click the link right now and get on.
Okay. I still have 1 viewer on it right now, so we are approaching it. We have now hit the 8 o'clock hour now, and I want to go ahead and pull up. Let me go ahead and click on this. I'll pull this picture off. And
now, Rick, you think that we should update our cover picture on the page, having something to do with the Stop the Riots or something?
I think,
have like American flag or something on there.
Yeah, just all you need to do is put the American flag. I'm sorry about my chair, guys.
Is there any words you want me to put in it?
No, just put the American flag. And
okay, guys, I have to go. Okay.
Okay, that is absolutely fine. We will thank you for joining us, Andre. It really means a lot to us. Go ahead and if you can, if you want to, message me and I will add you back.
Okay.
All right, Braden, I do have a timer up on the screen right now. This is until the curfew goes into effect in Baltimore. Protesters are still in strong numbers down there, and I want to go ahead and listen live in here a minute, but I can't believe this is happening. As New York,
they're arresting more people as the minute goes on. It seems like
that. If you're watching CNN right now, that was recorded earlier. But we have now, and the timer on your screen is telling you until the curfew goes into effect for Baltimore, and Baltimore police have announced they will be enforcing the curfew starting at 10 p.m. So anybody who is not off the streets of Baltimore will be arrested, or that's the only thing, will be arrested if they are out after 10 p.m. So, just to recap, guys, we have protests going on in Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Maryland, New York City, New York, and Boston, Massachusetts. Now, there could be others. We have no idea, but the people seem to be becoming less organized in Baltimore. It looks like they're just hanging out and talking to one another. So it looks like this is becoming more of a gathering instead of a protest, which they are still protesting, but we could be starting to see things calm down for a little bit in Baltimore. Again, the timer up on your screen is showing you until the curfew goes into effect for the Baltimore area. I'm going to go ahead and keep that up on screen for you.
As you just said that it's calm right now, but it only takes about one person to start everything right back up.
Absolutely, and that's what Mike Pepper was talking about earlier. It only takes one person and the rest follow. So we are going to go ahead and listen into CNN audio here. I'll keep the timer up for a little bit longer, and we'll switch back and forth between that every once in a while. But here is in New York.
With these mesh fences to keep the crowd off of this street. Just a few minutes ago, we saw a number of people being arrested right in this intersection outside of Union Square Park. It was a very swift response from the NYPD to a somewhat spontaneous decision from the protesters to march. They had gathered here for about an hour, Anderson, in a very peaceful demonstration, holding signs, chanting, speaking to one another. And then they decided to hit the streets. They got about a half a block outside of the park, heading west on 17th Street. And that's when they were intercepted by officers who forced them back, telling them to get back on the sidewalk. Those who would not listen to police, those who would not clear out of the street and get on the sidewalk, we saw them put in hand ties and taken away. This might be surprising to some people who have seen a number of protests in this city over the last couple of months, most remarkably back over the winter months when we saw hundreds, if not thousands, of people taken to the streets to protest after the death of Eric Garner. You may remember we did see some arrests at that time, but we didn't see them instantly. It seems that the tactic that the NYPD was employing at that time was to allow people the space to get into the streets if they chose to express the passions that they had decided to express at the time. The tactics tonight, Anderson, different, and they came with warning. The NYPD knew about the protest that was going to be happening in Union Square. They got down here this afternoon, even before the demonstrators got here. They set up loudspeakers warning people that if they obstructed the sidewalks or if they walked in the streets, that they could be arrested for disorderly conduct. And as soon as this crowd of at least hundreds of people started to make their way across 17th Street, the police responded immediately, Anderson, and that's when we saw them taking some people into arrest. One person left here in an ambulance. No word on what kind of injuries there might be in that case. At this point, what we're seeing at this very moment, though, are NYPD officers standing shoulder to shoulder out here downtown Manhattan, the middle of 17th Street, trying to keep this crowd out of the streets. The crowd is somewhat thinning. We've heard some demonstrators say that they'll march in other places, that they'll head south from here. And it seems that the police are actually moving at this point. We don't know what's prompted it. We can't see down there. But we do see that a large crowd of NYPD officers now making their way west across 17th Street. A lot of people still out here being held behind these mesh fences, waiting for what's next, Anderson.
And we're going to go ahead and leave that there for a little bit. You know, that was live in New York, and as they said, people were being arrested for obstructing the sidewalk, and they are trying to keep, NYPD officers are trying to keep the streets clear for traffic to move through. And as I said, protest will be intercepted and stopped if it disrupts the flow of the community and endangers public safety. So I don't know which one they are, you know, focusing on there, but you know, just a lot of things going on in the country right now, Braden. And you know, what have you been seeing?
It's pretty much the same thing. There's protests still going around in New York, but I think in Baltimore it's calmed down a little bit. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Not as bad as New York right now, but it's not over in Baltimore, of course.
Absolutely. And again, you're seeing on your screen a timer until the curfew goes into effect. So, you know, we're currently watching that unfold right now, and just, you know, a lot to talk about right now in the eyes of Americans. Braden. I'm sorry? Your mic's cutting out.
seeing it at the they're walking on the street. Chris.
Hey, Braden. Braden.
Yes.
Your mic is lagging. So go ahead and talk now.
All right. You see the if you're watching CNN, they took it to Washington D.C. now, where they're protesting on the streets.
Absolutely, and this is. And just to show you how much people want to protest against this, there is a man walking with 2 canes right now, just to be in this protest. And you know, it's just heartbreaking to see that. Not really heartbreaking, but just it shows the enthusiasm that people have tonight, just because they want to protest. And I'm not saying that that's bad or anything, but you know, this is their First Amendment right, and I completely agree with what they're doing as long as they keep it civil and calm. I have no problem with it. So we're going to go ahead and Braden's going to take it over here for just a little bit so I can catch my breath. Protest marching in Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Maryland, Boston, Massachusetts, and Baltimore. And sorry about that. And marching in New York City. Braden?
All right, I will be taking over so Brian can catch his breath a minute. I'll be working on our cover picture for the page. So right now, while I do that, you guys can listen in to the latest on the news.
People also want answers. I think people are focusing on Friday, and so I think that's also why we're seeing more of a groundswell in terms of protesters. So I think there's a real momentum moving towards Friday because we know that that is the day when the investigators, at least the police investigators, are going to hand this over to the prosecutors. But I think we do, Anderson, need to manage expectations, not only for our viewers, but just for the public in general, because I don't think that they're going to get the answers that they're seeking by Friday.
Right, unless something leaks out. But again, there's not going to be charges brought as far as we know. There's nothing, no indictments, anything like this. This is preliminary investigation by the Baltimore Police Department, handed over to the attorney.
I think that's right, and I think now it's the prosecutor. That right then and there will be the prosecutor's game. It will be the prosecutor's decision, and prosecutors do, of course, get that information from the police department, but then they have to conduct their own evaluation, their own investigation, and my understanding is they don't have the autopsy report. In a case like this, that's so vital, so necessary for any decision to be made.
You know, Harry, it's really interesting just to be talking with protesters today, and we saw this again yesterday. You and I talked about this on the broadcast last night. The extent to which these protesters are policing themselves. You know, I was with a group just a short time ago marching down a street. There were individuals ahead of them stopping traffic, redirecting traffic. It wasn't police officers doing that. It was march organizers. It was just people who had taken on that responsibility. And that's something I think we've really seen, and I think has made a big difference over the last 24, 36 hours.
Yeah, well, without a doubt, Anderson, you know, I'm really happy to see that the community leaders are getting involved in this, and that the police officers don't have to take much action. If we see this every day, and if they keep on remaining involved, we shouldn't have that much violence. Although we had a couple of arrests last night after the curfew at 10 o'clock, and we probably will also tonight after 10 o'clock. But I think these people stay involved. All right, stay on top of these people that are trying to stay after 10 o'clock. We'll probably have a really good night. And also the fact that, you know, I don't know what's going to happen Friday because the word is out there that nothing really is going to come out on Friday. So I'm really interested to see what's going to happen around Friday, 10 o'clock at night when the curfew goes into effect.
General Honore, it's interesting, again, just the makeup of protesters. I mean, I don't have a conclusive evidence of this, but just from talking to people today, being out and seeing a lot of different protest groups, it seems like it's people from a lot of different parts of the city, much more multiracial. And I'm wondering where you think that change has come from. Is it the stronger police presence? Is it the sense that a corner has been turned, to use the phrase that the governor used, and that the protests are peaceful, and therefore people feel more emboldened to come down and take part in them?
Yeah, I think the observation is spot on, Anderson, that the events that occurred on Monday that were violent. They had bad optics for the nation. They had bad optics for the state and for the city. That people are trying to move on, and the collective community in Baltimore, which takes great pride in the city, are now focusing on going from law and order to start to move the politicians to talk more about justice. And I think because of the police presence, people can have that confidence that the police will do a role. They'll control the protest, but they'll also protect the people. And I think that's a confidence builder. But Anderson, I think they're swinging behind the ball in that we need to get that mayor and the governor, as well as the federal government, to start developing the narrative to find the exit strategy.
Brayden?
To get people off the street and get them
Yes,
back to work.
sir.
I'm back.
All right. Do you have any new updates?
No, nothing new to update. I think we're going to go ahead and, if nothing new happens, we're going to go ahead and end our coverage here. If stuff should turn violent, again, we will be back on, and we'll be here with you, updating you all night. And
If everything goes right, we'll probably check back again on our live coverage around 9:30 or 10 to see if everyone obeys the curfew.
yeah, again, I have the timer up there. Less than 2 hours left until Baltimore curfew. We're currently sitting at 1 hour, 44 minutes, and 30 seconds now. So just
Yeah.
a.
Do you think they will?
I'm sorry.
Do you think that they will abide by the rules? I think some of them will, but some of them will not. Just like last night.
Yeah, and there was a lot of arrests in Baltimore last night after the curfew.
Then actually a situation appeared in Ferguson, didn't it?
Yes, 3 people, if you didn't hear the news, 3 people were shot and killed in Ferguson last night because of the riots. And we are we are currently at 8:15, and we're currently seeing protests going on in Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Maryland, New York City, New York, and Boston, Massachusetts. Boston hasn't really been on the TVs yet, so...
That's the key word, isn't it? Yet.
Yeah, you know, we have, just like any of us, we have no idea what is gonna be planned for tonight, but all I can tell you is that New York City and Baltimore and Washington and Boston are preparing for massive protests tonight and widespread disorder across the nation. So we will continue to keep you updated here and see what happens. You can also drop in on the conversation by going to our Facebook page, and we will keep you updated there throughout the night. And again, protests are erupting in New York City, as we've said. So we will keep you updated.
If nothing major happens, we'll check maybe a few minute live stream updates, correct?
Yes.
All right, it sounds good.
Again, just massive protests going on across the nation right now, and if anything else happens, we'll be back on to tell you. Brayden, if you have anything else to say, go ahead.
No, I think that's it. Just if you live in those areas, just be sure to keep safe and do not go out unless you have to. especially in the riot areas.
Okay, just keep it. You can also keep us updated by messaging our page. So once again, just before we go, riots are erupting in Washington, Baltimore, New York, and Boston. So there's a lot of protests going on around the nation. And again, we'll keep you updated on the page. And we will also be sharing links if we are going back on. Just keep an eye on the news stations for the very latest. Again, as I said, this is a very important time in America right now. So we will keep you updated as we go through the night.